Hi, everybody. This is Martha Creek. I'm delighted to be here with you. This is another mentoring moment with Martha. And you can contact me at marthacreek.com. marthacreek.com. That's my email, my phone number. There's also 150 videos, 150 podcasts, very similar things, classes, workshops, seminars, teachings, how to contact me directly, and these mentoring moments with these fantastic friends and colleagues of mine. And today I have Reverend Elizabeth Longo with me, who is down in Florida. She has lived and worked in Miami area since I've known her, and she's a world traveler. So we'll put her contact information up at the back end of this. At the end of this, it'll also be in the print material, so you'll know how to contact Elizabeth directly. So welcome for you, honey, and thank you very much for saying yes to this.
Oh, so grateful to be here with you. You know, I love you so much, and so I am honored and delighted.
So these are offered, you know, honey, you've heard me say many times that I'm here to serve those who serve. And I have a vision for us to get empowered teachings to the whole of humanity. So these interviews are made with that purpose. They're made through a devotional of my heart to find other people that are leaders and teachers, and to say, how can we then put a teaching out that could change and affect somebody's life, radically transform somebody's life. So I appreciate your time here. So just start to talk, honey, straight away with what you believe this about the time that we're in, and about what you think is important for our journey here during this time, some things that may have helped you, that are helping you now, and to think about then any listener that hears this, something that could reach them that could be life-changing, transformational change for them. So just bring it on, bring it.
Sure. Well, we are living the most interesting of times, right? That's like, I believe that we're all immersed in this global recreation of, you know, how we're going to be together, how we're going to live, you know, what kind of a world do we want to live in. But it really begins with each and every one of us really taking a deep dive within and see what's working and not working. That's really what I'm clear about, and what we want to become. It's also like, it's almost like a time of stop, look, see what's working, what's not working, how can we live together and make this a better world for all. It's simple, but so convoluted because of all the conditioning that we've had. When this whole thing started, I got really clear. I got a really clear download in my meditation that this was a time to reset, to really, really stop, reset, go within, retreat, renew ourselves. And it's almost like a rebirthing time. So that's what I've been working on. And it's mostly like peeling away, you know, what are these things, these patterns that repeat themselves? You know, how am I really asleep? And what I mean by asleep is, I really believe that, as Rumi says, we're here to wake up and stay awake. You know, stay awake. And what do I mean by awake? What I mean by awake is being really present in the here and now, and being willing to really look at the stories that we are continually creating, because there's the fact, and then there's what we make it mean. Yeah. And so this is a time of really looking and seeing, you know, okay, what are the stories that I'm telling about this, about my life, especially when it's not working, right? Because when we have a conclusion, we're only seeing things one way, tunnel vision. In the moment we're willing to step back and look at that and say, okay, wait a minute, is there other ways that I can see this? What meaning am I really looking at? You know, separating facts from reality. So I love reality.
You know, many would claim we love reality too, honey, but if we don't really look at it, it's not true. It's like we're opposing reality. We're mad at reality, affronted, offended put out, frustrated, upset, worried, panicked, terrorized, blaming, shaming, guilting. And it's like that's where all the stress in the world is, of course. So what you're describing here, Elizabeth, is loaded, honey, loaded. So let's slice into this, for example, and get more concrete with when you use a term like look at your life, examine your life introspectively. If you don't meditate, then look at it through a lens of functionality. Look at it through a lens of what patterns are running the show. So speak more specifically and concretely about here's some examples of people you've served, your client base, your congregational basis, of ways that were not working in their life. So, for example, if these things are going on in your life and they're not in integrity with you, these are things to really use this time auspiciously to say, I'm going to rewire some of that. I'm going to take some of that wiring out and I'm going to put in new wiring, which it's been proven over and over and over again that we have the capacity to do that. So regardless of how we're wired, we hold a capacity to unwire, to rewire, and to begin again to develop some new patterns. And this auspicious time for it. So give some examples of what I mean by your life not working, or here's some examples of what other people have found in their life that wasn't true for them.
Absolutely. And what I have noticed, because I coach a lot of clients. I have a few clients that I'm working with, and there's a common thread in all of this because of COVID. A lot of people are home, working at home. They've had to change their plans. You know, they had plans to go to Europe or here or there, and that stopped. And all of a sudden, they have a lot of time on their hands, and they've noticed a lot of the internal conversations that are going on and how it's not serving them any. You know, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress going on, and nothing wrong with that. First of all, you got to normalize it because it's part of, you know, this human experience. Yes, and right now, especially, this stuff is coming up. So the opportunity is to see it and look at the internal conversations. And the moment that you see it and you're willing to really see, wait a minute, is this really true? Do I need to put my energy here? Because most of the thoughts are recycled. It's almost like, I love it, like in the morning when we wake up, we're still in that place of not really la la land, not really knowing your name. And then, boom, you put on your thinking cap. And then we're back into the hamster wheel over and over again, same thoughts, same stress, energetically, like you were saying, the same grooves in the brain. So the moment you notice, oh, wow, you know, I keep repeating this pattern. I keep repeating this thought. And then the clients that I've been working with really come down to the core of it. Underneath all those thoughts is always a thought of unworthiness, not really liking themselves, loving themselves. And it's like, okay, have you had enough of that? You know, is this really who you are? And then really look at, you know, there's a gratitude protocol that they're working with right now. You know, the scientists have really figured that it really works. Is you look at everything that you've been focusing on, all these thoughts that are not really true, and it doesn't feel good when you're believing it because you're out of coherence with the qualities of your being. So then you look at that, you write all that, and then write everything that you're grateful for and all the wonderful qualities. And you're going to notice when you put your attention here versus here, how the shift happens, you know? And there's nothing wrong with these feelings of frustration or overwhelm or anything, because they're really the body's signal that, hey, pay attention, notice what you're thinking, pay attention. So the more we begin to tune into our bodies, that our bodies don't lie, the more we're able to see what's the internal conversations. You know, when I was like 19 or 20, I discovered yoga. And the other day I got on my mat. And when I got on my mat, I started moving my body with my breath. And I had a moment of just crying. I mean, wailing. And it was so liberating because the mat always meets you. It's almost like this field that always meets you, never judges you, and it's just there for you to see. And one teacher told me many, many years ago, how you show up in your mat is how you show up in life. So it's kind of like the chair that you sit and you just sit there every day, just being mindfulness, or the mat, or everything. It's that place of that welcomes you. It's that field of all is well, all is here. Just notice. And it's like opening a space for all polarities. And that to me is what is my life's work, whether I'm coaching someone or speaking, any service that I speak, anything that I speak, is this, all I'm saying is the same thing. Just wake up from the delusion of believing that you're less than what you are, but having the skills, because the wake up experience is the easy part. That's the easy part. Then it takes deliberate intention to really see what you're going to focus your life's energies in. So what's more important for you? What do you really love? And this is a wonderful time to really notice, what do I love? And I realize I'm always in everything that I do, I am God's artist. I really believe that this is a wonderful, wonderful playground, this that we're in. And as Ram Dass says, I love Ram Dass. He said, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. So many people focus on, if I get this, I'm going to be happy, or, I want this, or nothing wrong with it. But I love the ability that we all have to realize this place of stability. Yeah. That is unchanging in the midst of change, and that we are the field, we are the awareness where everything rises and falls up. And until we get that, and that life is change, and that we embrace change, I don't think, I'm hopeful, but I think we need to get that as a species. And the moment that we get that, then we can transcend to really what I want to say. I want to still have that vision of the awakened human, the divine human, that we can all see that we're all the same. In la catch, as a Native American says, I am another you. I am another you. How may I serve you? How may we come together in this awareness? That's what I'm really passionate about in everything I do, whether I'm working with an organization or an individual, or everything is like, how can we open the space to greater awareness of what's possible?
Well, your passion shows, honey, and it's a very inspiring to witness, to hear, to see, and what happens in you as you describe this. And you've hit on many, many topics here. So I want to slice into this a little bit. So you referred to being in yoga, and yoga in your 20s. I happen to know you're not in your 20s anymore. And I heard one time about yoga, for example, that we practice yoga for 10 years without ever knowing what yoga is. Then in the second decade of yoga, it starts to dawn on us what yoga is. And then in the third decade of yoga, in the 30th year of yoga, yoga starts to do us with practice. So it sounds like you hadn't been on your mat in a while. And it's like, I'd love the listeners to hear that it's fine. It's fine. No shame if you've left your practice. No shame if you haven't meditated. No shame if you haven't done the yoga pose. Start where you are. Start in meditation. Set a minute timer. Set a 30-second timer. Do 1 minute of gratitude, 60 seconds of gratitude, 60 seconds of heart math, 60 seconds of coherency, of aligning with what Elizabeth described as what is true for you. Get on your mat. Let the tears come. Give space to them. Take a walk. Take some pictures. Elizabeth shared with me before we started the recording that she was painting again. And this is divine expression. This is a way to process, to innovate, to collaborate, to resource, to activate, to move energy, to do so many things. So if you, and you may never see this world as a playground like Elizabeth referred to, but if you saw it as even, I have a potential for play, I have a potential to bring a lightheartedness here to whatever I'm doing, to make even our work, our WORK, not so drudgery based, not so dreadful, but how could I bring a sense of creative expression to this, a sense of relaxation to this, a sense of gratitude to this? So you've really hit on several points that I think are critical, vital points for our becoming, and not because we've got to become to be okay or become to be a somebody, but a becoming that we're wired for, that we're impulsed for. And this mental, old archaic mentation and old archaic mental restrictions, binds, limitations, mental ruts, emotional ruts, if we don't, as you're describing, back up from it, broaden our perspective from it, and literally jump that track and say, there's another way for me. Not, is there another way for me? There's another way for me. What is it? So what could I do here? What can I do, for example, that's going to bring a different result to this? So how can I be about this differently? You also spoke about energy, Elizabeth. So let's talk a little bit about what you've observed from your own internal energy, how the energy informs us. You also referred to your body without using the words, but our bodies as a feedback mechanism. Our bodies are informing us about what is true and what is not. And the study of kinesiology, for example, is a measure of that. There's biofeedbacks devices that can measure this. So, and you, I think you said the body doesn't lie. So like our body is going to report what is actually true and actually false for us. Or Dr. David Hawkins, which you know I love very much in his teachings, David Hawkins, MD, Dr. David Hawkins, if you want to look up that work, spoke about things either strengthen us or weaken us. And you presented a very clear image of this side over here is going to be more of a drain on my system. And this way over here is going to be more of an uplift to my system. So it's very similar. So say a little bit about the body as a feedback source, as it's giving us feedback, and the fields of energy, the energy fields that are informing us.
Sure. Well, okay, the first example that comes to me, when we are in alignment with what we love, like it might be just jogging or painting or writing or something, or even just hugging a baby or watching a sunset or hugging a tree. It's like there's a feel good. It just feels good. You know, it just kind of like you feel like, you feel at one, that's that oneness feeling. You know, it's kind of like I'm in the zone. Now, when we're totally stressed and we're believing all these thoughts that are not who we are, it's what we're believing because our thoughts are not who we are. And that to me is the key. When we get that, you know, it's like, whoa, that to me is the awakening. We're not our thoughts. We're not our beliefs. And we can begin to observe them. And so when we notice that, you know, there's a shift. And then when we pay attention to the body's energy, then we can really notice and say, okay, what was I thinking about? What's really going on? For example, if you are feeling the chest tight, or there's like your gut is going what's like, wait, what's going on? And there's probably a fear or worry thought going on. Just notice, and notice with a lot of loving kindness. I mean, gentle with yourself. That's the other thing during these times that you said, this time is calling us to hug ourselves, to be gentle, how to take extreme care of ourselves, because we have the tendency, you know, the ego has many strategies, and we have the tendency of, I should know better. boom, boom, and we whip ourselves over and over again. No, 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 no. Take a breath. Take a breath and be gentle. And the moment we really begin to really notice and look in, then we can see and see. That's why if we begin to see and be more in the space, the silence between the thoughts, we notice that there's peace there. And there's actually even joy. Joy doesn't move. And so our quality of life begins to take on a more expansive richness. And that, but it really takes courage, Martha. It takes courage to dive deep and say, I'm willing to pay attention. I'm willing to really bring my mind to here now. This surface mind is always like, I call it the jumping monkeys or the drunken monkeys. It's always like in the past, comparing what was or projecting into the future because something happened 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I didn't get what I wanted, so I'm projecting that into what's going to happen. So if we begin to see that these feelings that come up, that we label them as bad, I shouldn't, and just notice, no, it's the body's informational system, and just notice, what's going on? And paying attention every so often, taking a little break, almost like chop your head off for a moment and just breathe. And all is well here.
Yes, which is powerful. I'm going to be doing a series coming up again on the teachings of Eckhart Tolle. They mean a lot to me. I've listened to them for decades and years, and I'm very called to get back into some of those practices. And just this morning, in my listening this morning in preparation for this, one of the sections that I listened to was for us to awaken, and it uses a term like to disidentify. So what you're describing. So there's thoughts, there's feelings, there's belief systems, constructs, concepts, theory. There's all that kind of mentation, and it's not who I am. So it's not my thinking. Like no different than I'm not circulating my own blood, oxygenating my cells. So something greater than me is oxygenating the cell, circulating the blood, and thinking it. The power lies in that observation, being able to keep a distinction between what I do have part of and party to, and what I have no party to, and that I'm either going to get more and more observant, more and more reflective, more and more curious, which you described beautifully, and the power of that curiosity. What caused that? What is that feeling? What was the cause of that? And then what would shift it? What's another option for me? What could I do here differently? And then the energy is going to be responsive to whichever route I take. So if I continue to pile right into the darkness or the pit or the despair or whatever it is, then my energy is going to be reflective of that too. So then if I then can say, well, hold on now, I've had about enough of that. I've gone about as far into that as I'm willing to go. So what's another option for me? Then I'm going to exercise that option. Then the energy is going to reflect that also. So it's no little thing, as Elizabeth has described here, it's no little thing to observe and to stay curious, more like, wondering even, what's this about? And what would ease it? What else could I do here besides what I patterned to do here? So speak about it in terms of how sometimes when folks hear things like this, it sounds like it's an oversimplification of it. And then the mind you refer to as the ego. So the resistant part of the mind or the fear part of the mind would say that nonsense, it won't work. Yeah, but. So think about then how to be with that. And you were beautifully expressive about it, Elizabeth, to say, to allow for that it's fine. Whatever thought is there is fine. Whatever feeling is there is fine. And my role is to be discerning enough to say, it's going to strengthen me or it's going to weaken me. So two roads diverged in the woods. Which road am I going to follow here? So without simplifying it, it is simple and your word, and it's complex, convoluted, because there's no direct route in it because of all this patterning we have. So start to give people what would be your words of encouragement, what you've seen that's possible, what you've had a direct experience of in your life that's possible. So this is not just airy fairy woo woo,
No.
not eternal optimism, that this is specific. Here's what I have a direct experience of. Here's what I've watched people in direct experience have. So close this out, this session, this mentoring moment session, with some direct experience and what you've witnessed in yourself and others, that is would give hope, grounded hope for this.
Sure. And I love that you're going to do a series with Eckhart Tolle, who I absolutely love, and yes, it is simple. It is so simple. It gets overlooked, and it gets overlooked because we have believed ourselves to be the story of me. And so we're already whole and complete. It's more deconstructing what we believe. So the simple technique that I can give, I mean, I have many tool sets, but just one simple thing that we can do on a daily basis. And I've seen people have amazing results, and I know I have, every so often, at least 3 or 4 times a day. Just stop, take a breath, and just go from here to here. Because going back to yoga, there are so many people that just live from here to here and have no idea of the relationship with the body. And Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, the experience of the body. And so instead of just bringing your attention only to here, to the thoughts and this limiting little thing, just taking a breath and just bring your attention to your heart. Just even as you said, the heart math, just put your hand here. Put your hand here. Give yourself some loving kindness. Breathe. Just be here. Take a rest. Take a rest from your bloated sense of self. Take a break. You don't have to fix the whole world. You don't have to hold everything. No, you're not responsible for anything. There's an intelligence that, trust the intelligence that's going through your veins, through all your systems in your body. Just breathe. I'm okay. Yeah. This moment is okay. A few times a day. And then step back and notice. Begin to bring that curiosity. What are the thoughts? Where's my energy going? What do I really, really want? It's an ongoing journey, and this is what I'm passionate about. That's why I say I'm God's artist, and this can be a playground where everything that we experience can really be our teacher. Everything, everything. Life is coaching us continually, and inviting us to take a breath. Just take a breath.
The beautiful arms open like that, honey, because that's really the summary of this. It's either we go through life like this, like, okay, here I am. What is it? It's teaching me. This is for me. Or no, don't want it, ain't gonna have it, resist it, which is where.
Am I going to be open? Is my heart going to be open?
Yeah.
And connect in a deeper way with each other, with life.
Yeah.
I take a walk every day around the lake where I live, and I make it really, really intentional, just really looking and seeing whether it's the butterflies or the turtles or the fish, the birds, the trees, the flowers. Life is beautiful when we're open to it.
Yes, honey, and awake to it. Because to the degree that we live here, and you said it's a very small world, a very tight, constrict, rigid world, then all of that is right in front of us, and it doesn't even exist
No.
until that is dealt with, set aside, processed through, understood, met with some understanding. And I remember hearing and listening to Eckhart Tolle get questions, and people were saying, should I meditate? Should it be transcendental meditation? Should it be Vipassana meditation? Should it be the 9-day school? Should it be the this? Should it be Esalen? Should it be Omega? Should it be this teacher, that author? What course? What new 9-day course? What new year-long course? And his answer was, take 3 conscious breaths.
That's it. That's it. So I love working with people that have taken a million courses, and I'm ready to stop. Just stop and be. And I'm actually going to be offering a free workshop for anybody that's interested. And really, it's about how to clear your mind during turbulent times, which is all about the beingness.
Yeah. So you'll be able to get that workshop with Reverend Elizabeth as long as the timing of this podcast launch goes. It could be, if not, stay tuned into her website, because if it's not in time for that workshop, there'll be another one coming soon. Certainly, she's available for coachings, for speaking, for serving individuals, families, couples, organizations, teams, all matters of things. And I thank you again for your time here today. And I bless the teaching and the teachers and the listeners. I know that any of you that know us know that we're students too. So we're very much in our practices and very much learning, even though it looks like that we're in a different role here. So Godspeed to you as you get back into your practices, back into your breathing, back onto your mat, back onto your writing or painting or walking or butterflying or whatever it is. And all blessings to you, Elizabeth, and all that you do.
Thank you, Martha. God bless you. You're doing an amazing, amazing service to the world. Thank you for having me.
Let's put your website on there, honey. What's the name of it?
ElizabethLongo.net.
So Elizabeth Longo, LONGO.net. So to contact her to get information about her work, and marthacreek.com to contact me or to get involved there with workshops or seminars or individual programs. So till we meet again, mentoring, co-inspiring to get empowered teachings to the whole of the planet. Bye for now. marthacreek.com if I can support you. Blessings.